Happy birthday to Lil Durk, man. It was Lil Durk's birthday yesterday, and unfortunately, he did celebrate his birthday behind the wall in federal custody. Lil Durk just turned 33 years of age, man, and it's very unfortunate because it might end up being the case that Lil Durk ends up spending a lot more birthdays behind bars. He could be spending another 33 years behind bars if this murder for hire case doesn't go down his way. But everybody was celebrating Lil Durk's birthday. He's been in jail for 360 days as of writing that birthday message, okay? But we got some really interesting updates from Lil Durk on his birthday. We actually received some interesting messages from Durk. He put out a voice message to the people, and he even released a little bit of music for everybody to enjoy. So let's hear what he had to say. Lil Durk spoke out on his birthday. He had some very wishful thinking, and let everybody know he's going to be hopefully he's got his faith. Hopefully he's going to be touching down soon. He said, hopefully I'll be back as soon as October or whenever this trial happens. Let's hear what he said.
Oh, and I say, I'm going to let y'all know I'm proud of y'all for the sake of Allah. Y'all love y'all for the sake of Allah, you know. I'm doing better, man. We all got taking chances, and we've been offered a lot right now, so I just want to let y'all know that we're with y'all 100%. When I get out of here, inshallah, anytime before October or during trial, however it goes, I'm going to leave that example. And I told them I want to come down there and see y'all, speak to y'all. So, you know what I'm saying? Get y'all minds right, get y'all brotherhood together, and get on the deen. Y'all love y'all for the sake of Allah.
Love. We love you back, man. Jazakallah khair.
Now, look, Lil Durk has converted to Islam. He converted to Islam a little while before he ended up getting caught up in these charges. He clearly probably had a lot on his conscience in those years, 23, 24, 2024. You know what I mean? Before these charges got handed down, he clearly had a change of heart. He wanted to get in touch with his faith. He wanted to get in touch with his God. And, he's just trying to lock in and just have his faith. Now, I personally do often find it quite hypocritical when you got these dudes, they convert to Islam. He's talking about everyone else needs to get on their deen. He said it, he's going to lead by example. But, he wasn't really leading by example when he messed up his blessing, when he allegedly, caused another person to die. It's not really leading by example. It's a little bit, I just find some of this stuff a little bit exhausting sometimes, because I just feel like it is just a load of nonsense. Because, look, it's all well and good when the heat gets on and you guys are worried about catching this case and somebody's been murdered, interstate murder for hire charges, and now you want to find your faith. Now you want a mission from God, and it's kind of like, well, where were you on a mission for God when you was waging war in the streets? And just to add a little bit of sauce on top of it, this is Lil Durk celebrating his birthday a few years ago, all right, in 2022. Lil Durk blew out his candles and they said, make a wish. He wished for somebody to die. And he said, I already got my wish. He already gone. So this was the energy that Durk was putting out before he converted to Islam. He starts dictating how everybody else needs to be, responsible and get on their deen. Why wasn't he on his deen back when this was going on? Look at this.
Hey, Smirk, make your wish, gang. Oh, for this.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, the Fed's going to love that one, man. For any federal investigators watching this video, you go ahead and add that to the case files, man. But where was your dean back then? Where was your dean back then? People saying, not to sound policey, but Smirk was moving hot. I believe them when they say they got 250 megabytes or whatever of evidence, all right? Unpopular opinion, Durk did what he's supposed to do. They hit him with a Pee Wee Roscoe. Durk did exactly what he's supposed to do, man. Only issue is he had a shitty team, but for him to do anything else wouldn't be him. He's a real street dude. What did you expect to happen? No way Durk's problem was including too many people, even if they were gang. Why tag in other gangs? At least do it through a proxy or something. If I say don't use no money tied to me, then you use my credit card. That's what I would call the shitty team. Okay, but look, I thought this was interesting, right? Look how the universe humbles you, It's just 3 birthdays ago, you talking about, yeah, he gone. I wished for somebody to die. Apparently, he's referring to D-Thang's killer, and obviously we ended up hearing about 3 people losing their lives in the aftermath of D-Thang's murder. Stefan Mack lost his life, and then, J-Ski and Oil also ended up getting killed. And, you got Durk, hey, should have been on your deen back then, man. You wouldn't be in this situation. But Durk actually released a snippet of a song that a lot of people think he recorded on that Apple Watch. He was recently in a lot of trouble in jail. He got caught with an Apple Watch inside of his cell, a communication device he wasn't supposed to have, and he's been in big trouble. They said that he got sent to the hole over that, and apparently he's been using that Apple Watch to get busy, get in the booth, and make some music from behind bars. So we got a little snippet from Durk that just dropped, And you know, you can hear from the quality he's recording this on what sounds like an Apple Watch. Now, I'm from the UK. Okay, our government is a shambles. Our prison system is a mess. Now, shout out free to guys. You know, bang the doors. I've still got homies serving time in the UK, so you know, I'm not trying to put them down. But a lot of my guys in the UK, man, they cell phoned up. They iPhoned up. It ain't too tough to get an iPhone. You get the latest iPhone. People in there with their watches. I see guys in jail with APs and chains. All right, and you know, straight Valentino kicks and all that kind of stuff, okay? So in the UK, you can record studio quality albums. Shout out to Mazza. You know what I mean? SJ, these guys are in jail serving serious sentences and they're recording studio quality music. But clearly in the feds, you're going to have to get busy with that Apple Watch. Ain't no iPhone 16 in the feds. And you're about to hear the quality of the music that Durk is recording in the feds. And, you know, it's a fall from grace. He was touching the best engineers in the game before he got locked up. But now he on his Dean and he on that Apple Watch recording music, man. Let's hear it. See, it's interesting, right? Because you can hear he's recorded this in an Apple Watch. You're going to hear it's very echoey, but they've added the auto tune. They've tried to clean it up as much as they possibly could. The original recording probably sounded very rough. I can't lie, when that beat started coming in, man, it is hard. It's actually hard.
Talking to the trend.
It's sounding hard, man, but he's in there recording on the Apple Watch. He's doing what he has to do, man. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a whole Durk tape, a whole album, a whole EP. Oh, my God. They're saying this is Durk in the booth now, man. This is what it's become. This is what we've come to, man. AI pics of Durk recording that shit on his Apple Watch, man. They're saying he put in work on the Apple Watch. Free Durk, man. Free my goat. Real music. It's raw. Shorty working like you free. Same birthday. Free smirk, man. But everybody's saying free smirk. So look, he's actually changed the bio on his Instagram to an Apple Watch. So he's letting everybody know, hey, the voice. It ain't the voice no more. It's the watch. All right? It's the watch. It's the time. All right? Apple Watch. Listen, I don't want to know where that Apple Watch had to go to make it to Durk's cell. That Apple Watch might have been some dark places, man. If you know what I'm saying, man. That Apple Watch might have got banked. And you know what I mean? Sent to the hole. That Apple Watch might have been in the hole for real, man. They sent Durk to the hole over that Apple Watch. That Apple Watch just came out of the hole, man. Jesus Christ. Anyway, they're saying Durk don't need to do a damn thing till January, but if it's music, then it's understandable. You got to pay the bills and the lawyer fees, man. Because, hey, I thought Young Thug was covering the bill for Brian Steele, but they're saying that's cap. But anyway, I want to touch a little bit more on Lil Durk's conversion to Islam, because the big reason why I think Durk converted to Islam is, you know, partly his father's influence. You know, Big Durk. I've talked about Big Durk before, and here's him. Shout out to Muslematic too. They're an amazing organization that do a lot of work in Chicago to kind of bring together communities, you know, using the Islamic faith to try and push peace and positivity in a community. So I rock with Muslematic and what they're doing, man. I feel like they're doing really big things. But I do question the timing of Lil Durk's conversion to Islam. You know, I know that for a lot of people, finding their faith is very important, and that can put a lot of people onto a very bright path in life. But I think for Durk, you know, I touched on it in my documentary about Durk, but I was always a little bit suspicious. I feel like the timing of him converting to Islam, you know, whether he had all of this stuff on his conscience and he felt like he needed some redemption through religion, or whether he felt like he knew maybe he was going to be doing some federal custody. And from what I'm hearing from guys in jail, you know, the Muslim card, or, you know, however you want to call it in jail, like the Muslim group, you know, they're very cohesive. You know, they stick together, and really there's a lot of benefits to you know, being Muslim in jail. I know a lot of guys, black, white, Asian, in the UK, a lot of people convert to Islam in jail. So that's no disrespect to the Islamic faith, but I always thought the timing of Durk's conversion was very interesting, and maybe, you know, had a hint to where his mind was at the time, because a lot of people find religion when they're going through things, maybe when they're dealing with guilt, dealing with these things. But Big Durk has, you know, still been getting out here, spreading the message and spreading the word of Allah. This is a video of Big Durk at a mosque in Minnesota attempting to squash a gang war between Muddy and Beeville members. Lil Durk even called in to speak with them at the end, and they're saying he's the voice for real. So let's hear what Big Durk had to say with Muslamatic.
The law. That's the pass you give them. And when you give them that pass right there, that's more blessing for you. Ain't no one in here saying, I got enough blessings under my belt, that I got enough under my thing that I'm ready to stand before Allah. And then let's look at the flip side of it. Who did you know? Who did any of you know that ever that came back from the grave and said, hey, hurry up and get down here. It's going down here. It's going on down here. Anybody know anybody that came back and told us that? Well, then why do we rush towards the grave? Did anybody tell you that you've been in prison, hurry up and get there, because it's going on in there? It's happening in there. Anybody ever told you that? Because I know I've been 26 years up in there, and I'm telling you it's not happening in there.
I can't lie, a couple people have told me that. I've heard from a few people in the UK that, like, yeah, bro, they was in the streets, they was living a real rough lifestyle, they was in the gutter. All their homies were. I've heard it from homies that have said, this is more of a UK thing, I'm not condoning it, but I've heard homies that have been like, when they was young, 16, 17, getting into madness, they touched down on the wing, touched down on the yard. All their homies that got locked up are in there. They're like, this is lit. I know a few guys that when they were younger, they were saying jail was lit. I got released. I was thinking, bro, I need to get back in there. You know, I'm not trying to put down the message, but I do think it's interesting. It's an interesting message that he's spreading, and I think that Big Durk is doing positive things to try and keep people on the righteous path. And it's just a shame that Lil Durk wasn't able to maybe find his faith, you know, sooner before it was too late.
There's no fun whatsoever. So then why do we run headlong toward the prison door? There's only two ways that this can go. Shooting and killing and everything that's going on amongst the Muslims, it's only two ways. Dead or in jail. Who's trying to get to any one of these places? Who's trying to figure out how did this look? Take it from someone who has been there. Take it from someone who has seen it. Take it from someone who's been shot up. Take it from someone who the gang bang to the level, the highest level gang bangism. That's all I used to do was ride around looking for opposition to gang bang against.
Now, I didn't know that. Obviously, Big Durk, you know, Lil Durk's father, he was serving a very serious case. I think he originally got something like 27 years, or maybe it was life. But you know, from what I understand, he had a really big drug operation in Chicago. I've never heard him speak openly about this. I mean, he's saying that literally back in the day, he was riding around looking for the ops, looking to gangbang on people. All the way back in them days, we talking like, I think he might have got jammed up in like the 70s or the 80s. So, you know, it just goes to show you, man, this vicious cycle of violence, it just never ends.
So I'm telling you from experience. And these wasn't Muslim. I wasn't even a Muslim at the time I'm doing this. But then, in prison, I found Islam. In prison, the light of the deen hit my heart, and when it hit me, it was nothing, no turning around there. Because when you accept Islam, when that light hits you, everything about your life comes around, change, transform at that point right there. And everything that I think, I heard one brother saying when I came through the door, he said, hey, there go one of the street legends. Alhamdulillah, that the brother see me in a way that he could see and take from what I'm saying. But street legend, I was a cold clown out there. No matter how much money I had, no matter how many cars I was driving, no matter how many women I had, no matter how many guys was up under my control, I was a cold clown.
So he's saying, it's a really, really good point, and it's unfortunate because it really echoes for Durk. He was saying, no matter how many cars I had, no matter how many women I had, no matter how many people I had under my control, I knew I was a clown and I was moving wrong. And, you know, it's unfortunate that this advice is really coming late. You know, this is the kind of leadership and the kind of mentorship that someone like Lil Durk really needed when he was really going through it, dealing with addiction, dealing with everybody saying slide for Von. So I really respect the message that Big Durk's pushing through the community. It's unfortunate that maybe it was a little bit too late for Lil Durk to hear that situation, to hear that advice. But I do think it's really important. I want to amplify that message.
You know why I was a clown? Because everything...
And then we got the message from Durk here at the end. They're saying Durk's probably got a beard now. We ain't seen him since October 2024. Now, what's interesting, right? And I'm not trying to get too political. I'm not really giving my opinion too much on this, but this took place in Minnesota, right? This took place in a mosque in Minnesota, and there's been a lot of controversy about the mosques in Minnesota. There's been a lot of controversy because this is it. Hang on a sec. Yeah, there's been a lot of controversy in Minnesota because in Minneapolis, it actually became the first major U.S. city to broadcast the Islamic call to prayer publicly 5 times a day. And essentially, they announced it over speakers. If anybody's ever been to Dubai or the Middle East, you know, you'll be familiar with the Islamic call to prayer that's kind of broadcasted around the city. And essentially, in Minneapolis, they amended the city's noise ordinance, which prevents dawn and late evening calls at certain times of the year. And they essentially allowed the mosques to kind of broadcast that. And you know, this has been quite controversial. A lot of people in the community, some people haven't been feeling it, some people have. But I think that, you know, at the end of the day, I think we do have to support people's, you know, people's faith, the positive things that come out of this. You know, unfortunately, you've got good Muslims, bad Muslims, you've got good Christians, bad Christians, and some people kind of ruin it for everybody else. But I think just in the context of that talk that we just heard Big Durk making, I think that we got to support, and we got to support the idea that people are actually leaning into their faith, as long as it doesn't harm or, you know, impact other people. Now, the last thing I want to leave you with is just academics. He spoke on everybody switching up on Durk. You know, we've discussed in the previous videos, you know, about how a lot of rappers that were maybe cool with Lil Durk, you know, obviously the whole war between Lil Durk and Youngboy is what led to Lil Durk facing these federal murder for hire charges. You know, Lil Durk and King Von, that was one of his really close people who he'd signed and was rolling around with. You know, King Von gets into a beef with Youngboy. King Von pulls up on Youngboy's artist Quando Rondo looking for a fight. Lil Tim, Quando's homie, shoots at King Von and kills him, and then everybody says you need to slide for Von to Lil Durk, and he ends up killing Quando Rondo's cousin. Now, a lot of the people that were riding for Lil Durk, you know, when that was all going on, a lot of people were taking Durk's side. They were blackballing Quando and Youngboy from the industry, and now that Youngboy's back outside, he's having a lot of success. A lot of people trying to get back cool with him. And, you know, we touched on Lil Baby unfollowing Lil Durk and liking Youngboy's posts, and, you know, the speculation that Lil Baby was unsuccessfully trying to get back into Youngboy's circle. And I think apparently, according to academics, there's been a lot of rappers that have been doing this. Academics actually revealed that Youngboy told him that he's been getting DMs from a lot of rappers in the industry that are trying to get back cool with him. They're trying to rebuild that relationship.
So I'm in the dressing room, and we just talking about a bunch of shit. He's also telling me, and I will never say who. He's telling me all the rappers who was now hitting him up, and he kind of asked me, he's like, Act, so what you think, man? Because I think he's thinking like, yo, should he forgive some of these niggas? But all these rappers are on his dick now. You know what I mean? Like, they're all like, yo, young boy, we love you, right? And I gave him the best advice, I think. I said, you know, I didn't want to impart my thoughts on it because I don't know fully what he's been through and what he's thought. Because, you know, he was down where nobody would fuck with him at that point. So I said, whatever your heart feels about any of these niggas who are kind of doubling back or now they want to do whatever, go with that. And, oh, the fuck? And, yeah, so, come on, nigga, ready.
So everybody's trying to switch sides and get in with Youngboy now, and Lil Durk's unfortunately languishing in prison. So I don't know what's going to happen with this whole situation. I personally, in my personal opinion, I feel like Lil Durk's cooked. I think there's going to be even more evidence. It's going to be a bad look, and I really don't think he's going to beat this. If he beats this, more power to him, man, and I hope he comes out still on that, you know, religious and righteous path and you know, can put this all behind him. Honestly, I feel like Quando Rondo would probably put this behind him too. You know, he's a real street guy. He doesn't want to see somebody else doing life in prison over a whole drama that they've had. So who knows? But I don't think Lil Durk's going to beat this, to be honest. That's just my opinion. I feel like it's way too far gone. And he was moving way too sloppy. But what do you guys think, man? Are we looking for the Lil Durk, you know, Apple Watch recorded album? You know, he might need to drop that one on Apple Music with a whole marketing scheme. With, you know, we might have to get him promoting the new Apple Watch. I might go and buy the new Apple Watch soon. I'm thinking about copping the new Apple Watch. So, you know, maybe I should drop a tape off the Apple Watch too, man. But shout out to Lil Durk. Shout out to Big Durk, man. Muslamatic, all of these guys doing positive stuff, man. It's just a shame that this stuff wasn't happening sooner. And, you know, hopefully for the next generation of young guys growing up in the hood, young Muslims, young Christians, whatever your faith, we can get people on the positive and righteous path, because it's definitely not positive. Nobody wants to be in a Lil Durk situation. And I think that really isn't an example that really needs to be led for the community. So I'll catch you guys in the next video, man. I'm out. Peace.